Welcome to another episode of the night sky this week for February 22nd, 2021. I'm hoping you guys are getting to do some good sky watching out there this past week. So here we are. We've got our night sky set up for Monday, February 22nd. And lo and behold, this is just after sunset at dusk. And look at that. We've got the moon blazing away in the southeast eastern sky. It's heading towards a full moon this coming up Saturday. So stay tuned for that. That's the full moon for February, and that is called the cold moon. So on Saturday, that is what the moon is going to be. But right now, Monday, the moon is a waxing gibbous phase. So it is a dominant force in the skies, definitely. By dominant, I'm meaning it is very bright. So that is something that you have to deal with in terms of as a sky watcher when you're looking for a lot of different things, is factoring in the idea that the moon is so bright. But if you look, you'll see to the right of the moon a star-like object. There's Uranus, but Uranus is not going to be very visible unless you see it with binoculars, not with the eye. But Mars will be. Mars is still something you can see very easily with the naked eye. It's something even from city suburbs, brightly lit cities, you can still make out that orange hue that is so indicative of Mars. Underneath the moon, just after sunset, again, you'll see another bright star, even brighter star than Mars. It'll be underneath the moon, closer to your horizon in the southeast. That is going to be the star Sirius. It's the brightest star. It's also one of the closest stars to Earth. That's why it's so brilliant. Sirius is only 8.6 light years away, and it shines so brilliantly under the moon on Monday, February 22nd, just after dusk settles in. Just as darkness falls, you'll see that beautiful white, brilliant light of Sirius. So check this out. So we've got something also very interesting as it gets darker. And by the way, this is something that you can see. I've got it, for maybe Tuesday night. I'm going to set it out here, the 23rd. Here we go. And I'm going to set it for a little bit later as darkness really settles in and you get to see everything much more clearly. I want you to look at this. This is going to be interesting, that you'll see Mars and Aldebaran, two orange colored stars. They're going to be the colors are going to be slightly different, not the same, but similar. They'll definitely both be shaded kind of orange-like. And it's very interesting because there's such a vast difference in what these objects are, and yet to the naked eye, from here on Earth, looking up at the sky, both these objects look like stars, but only one is. Aldebaran is actually a brilliant star in the constellation Taurus, the bull. We've talked a lot about Aldebaran before. It's 66.6 light years away, and it represents the eye of the bull, Taurus the bull. However, if we look to the right of Aldebaran, another fairly bright star, similar in bright, almost actually this week, both Aldebaran and Mars will be of equal brightness. So this is very interesting. Mars is a planet, and it doesn't shine by its own light. It's actually, we see it because of sunlight reflecting off the surface of Mars. Those sand dunes, those highlands, and all that iron oxide rich soil. The sunshine bounces off of that, and we see that light. We see that color, distinctive color of Mars. And that's because of the bouncing off of the light. Meanwhile, with the star, Aldebaran, it produces its own light. So two vastly different objects, yet they're both shaded orange. They both look like stars. And of course, Mars is a planet, and it's much closer. It's 212 million kilometers away, and it takes 11.7 minutes for the light from Mars to reach your eye. So anytime this week, I've got it set for Tuesday, February 23rd. The moon will have kind of moved off a little bit to the side. So you can see the moon will be way off up here. There you go. Lots of deep sky objects. We'll be covering that in a few minutes. But look at that. I'm going to actually, you know what, I'm going to turn off these objects a bit so they don't distract us. There we go. And we uncluttered the sky. And there you go. You can see Aldebaran is right there. Right there, that's Aldebaran, and in the Hyades cluster, the open cluster that represents the face of the bull. But Aldebaran is that orange star. So even if you're in light polluted areas, this is something that you can see, and both are about equal brightness. And what's interesting is if we keep watching Mars over the next few weeks and months, Mars, and it has been, Mars used to be in the constellation Aries the Ram, which is right next door to it. You can see that here. Now it's kind of progressed, it's moved, just like the name, the word planets. Planets means wanderers in ancient Greek. Planetas, the wanderers. The planets seem to wander in front of the backdrop of fixed constellations. Mars has now entered the constellation within the borders of Taurus the bull. So it used to be in Aries the ram, and now Mars has traveled into Taurus the bull. So you've got this beautiful pairing of Aldebaran and Mars together, and it's just a beautiful sight. Now, of course, what will gain your attraction on Tuesday night, again, February 23rd, look for the waxing gibbous moon to be in the Gemini constellation, Gemini the twins. Now, the twins constellation is represented, just as you would think, by two bright stars, Castor and Pollux. And where are you looking for all this action? All this action is taking place in the early evening, if you go out in the early evening time, high in the eastern sky. Again, this is Tuesday, February 23rd. The moon is positioned beautifully, very close to the two stars, Castor and Pollux. Castor and Pollux. You can see right though, those are the two stars that represent the head of the twins. And Castor, the top white star, you can see right here, let me show you here, is 50 light years away, while Pollux is only 33 light years away. So these two stars are shining about equal brightness, yet they're very different in their distance. So remember, when we're talking about light years, it's how long the light takes to travel from the star to your eye. So about 50 years for the star Castor, that's how long it takes, 50 years for that light to reach your eye. And with Pollux, it's 33 years that it takes to reach your eye. So just think back when you're watching this on Tuesday night next to the moon, the brilliant moon. It's amazing to think how far back in time you're looking. And by the way, the moon is only 381,000 kilometers away, and it takes light just over 1.2 seconds to reach your eye. That's how close the moon is. When you're looking at this beautiful pairing of the moon to these two stars, you can see about the positioning, how far away the moon will appear. There you get a clearer sense how far away. But what will be very interesting also is that next to the moon, if you have binoculars, try this. This is a great little added challenge, observing challenge, is that right next to the moon is going to be a little star right there, you can see. And that star is called Kappa Geminorum, also known as Al-Kirkab. Al-Kirkab, and this star is 141 light years away, and it is visible to the naked eye. I mean, it's not very bright. It's 3.5 magnitude, which means if you're in a city, near a city, it'll be a faint star, and it'll be a challenge to see with this moon, the waxing gibbous moon. And for those of you in Eastern North America, places like Washington, D.C., Delaware, Maryland, those areas, you'll actually see the moon go in front and cover the star a bit. So off the eastern coast of North America, you guys will have a chance to see it be hidden behind the moon. These are called lunar occultations. That's what astronomers call it, when a star or planet hides behind the moon. as the moon travels across the sky, it sometimes does hide brighter star-like objects, and we call those lunar occultations. And they happen in very restrictive geographic locations around the world. And so those of you on the coast of northeastern North America, United States particularly, you will have a chance to see that star covered. It's Kappa Geminorum, and it's a small, faint star, 141 light years away, and it will be covered by the moon. So something fun on Tuesday night. Again, this is Tuesday night, February 23rd we're talking about, and it's a really, really cool thing to be able to see. So let's go to the chat room for a second. Say hi to everyone. Very, very nice. Magda, nice to see. Austin is there. Pam is there. We've got Graciela from Argentina. Welcome. Teresa from Minnesota is there. So very, very nice. So great to see all of you guys. Suna as well from Turkey. I recognize a lot of your names, and you are ardent followers. Thank you very much. Cirillo from Mexico as well. Saludos. Very nice. Very nice. So now we're going to move on to Wednesday. And what I'd like you to look for Wednesday night, and let me just zoom out. Let me see if I can zoom out here with my thing. Let me just move off and get back here. So if we move this to Wednesday, there we go. Wednesday night, the moon will have jumped into the constellation Cancer. There we go. And one of the things that the moon will be pointing to, now we're getting very close for it to being a full moon. It'll be close to one of my favorite deep sky objects, and I think you guys, if you haven't seen it, do try your hand with binoculars because the moon is so close. Cancer the Crab is home to one of the brightest star clusters that you can see, and it's called the Beehive cluster because it looks like a bunch of bees buzzing around a hive. That's what it kind of looks like. And you can see how far away it will be from the moon. Very close. You use the moon as a guidepost. Now, because the moon is so bright, it drowns out a lot of the fainter stars. But if you've never been able to find the Beehive cluster before, on Wednesday, February 24th, the moon will be a wonderful guidepost on Wednesday night to find the Beehive cluster. And what it looks like is beautiful as well. Here, I'm going to show you a nice close-up view of it. Isn't that gorgeous? That's the Beehive star cluster in Cancer the Crab, and the moon will point the way to finding it. It's a really nice cluster. It's visible to the naked eye if the moon is away from that point in the sky. That's something that you should know. Once the moon goes away and you know where to look for the Beehive, it's a beautiful sight even through backyard telescopes. And so what's interesting is that ancient Greek poets had mentioned it back as far as 260 BC. 260 BC, it was referred to as the little mist, or the cloudy star. And so classical Greek astronomers, Ptolemy actually described it as a nebulous mass in Cancer. And so this is really has an incredible ancient history. This cluster does, the Beehive, also known as M44 or Messier 44, as part of that famous catalog of Charles Messier, the 17th century astronomer. He cataloged 110 of the brightest objects beyond the solar system that are great for backyard sky watchers. And by the way, this cluster is 610 light years away from the Earth, and the moon will be a wonderful guidepost Wednesday night. So do check that out. Now, also really nice, if we turn on to Thursday night, bingo, we've moved over Thursday. The moon is now in Leo, in the mouth of the lion. Leo the lion, that's where the moon will be Friday. It is near full moon. Now, officially, the full moon happens on Saturday. It happens at 3:17 a.m. Eastern time. So it is officially on site, but Friday night, it will look, for all intensive purposes to all of us, as a full moon. So it will be rising soon after sun sets in the west. The full moon will rise in the east and dominate this overhead skies, over the southern skies, throughout the overnight period. And it will be basically in the mouth of Leo the lion, just there, almost gobbling it up. That's how Leo the lion is going to be positioned with the moon. So that's really cool. Late Friday night into Saturday morning. Leo constellation rising in the east late at night. But what I'd like to also show you is a group of stars called the Winter Triangle. Now, it's another kind of formation of stars. It's 3 stars, just as you would think, with each point in the triangle representing a bright star. Let me just turn off the deep skies here. And what the 3 stars that represent the Winter Triangle are Betelgeuse in Orion. That's the shoulder star of Orion the Hunter. Procyon, which is Canis Minor, the little dog. It's the brightest star in the little dog. And the brightest of the 3 in the Winter Triangle is Sirius. Sirius in Canis Major, the big dog constellation. And so try to find these 3 stars. It makes that configuration called, it's an asterism, meaning it's not one constellation. It's just a group of stars that looks like a very easy to find formation, a pattern. It's called the Winter Triangle, for, of course, referring to the northern hemisphere being currently, we're in the dead of winter, the middle of our winter skies. Of course, for those of you that are in the southern hemisphere, it's the middle of summer, and you guys should be able to see this very well as well. But of course, your orientation will be reversed from what I see here. Me being I'm in Montreal, Canada. For me, this is the orientation of the Winter Triangle. And I guess this would be the Summer Triangle for you guys in the Southern Hemisphere. But try to find this formation. It's really neat. So that would be down on Thursday. Now, on Friday, I should say. And if we move to the morning skies, I want to get into the morning for a second. Sunrise. There we are. And what greets us all week long are 3 planets. And these were lost to us just a couple of weeks ago. And now they're really coming into their own. And I want you guys to see if you could try to find it. So if you could set your alarm, if you're brave enough and you set your alarm about an hour before your local sunrise, you'll be out looking towards the southeast, very clear view toward the southeastern horizon. You will be greeted by 3 star-like objects that are planets. You get a great 3-for-1. You see Venus down here near the sun. You won't see Venus this week. It'll be lost in the glare of the sun. It's too close to the glare of the sun to be seen. So we've got Jupiter, Mercury, and Saturn greeting us in the early morning dawn, basically about a half hour before your local sunrise, looking towards the southeast. This is where you'll see the 3 planets, Jupiter, Mercury, and Saturn, completely dominating that part of the sky. That's going to be really, really neat for all of you guys to see. I think, especially if you have binoculars, the binocular view will make it a much more easy thing to be able to see close up. I'll give you an idea. This is pretty much what you'll see with binoculars. Really, the three planets are going to be so spread out, it'll be hard to see together. So that's pretty much with a very low pair of binoculars, you'll be able to see all 3 planets. Visually with the naked eye, they'll be clustered together. No problem for you guys to see all 3 easily with the naked eye, even if you live in city suburbs. But the trick will be getting that clear view to the very low southeastern horizon. So it's a bit of a challenge because of how close to the horizon these 3 objects are. Now, if we would move over the many days, if I show you, do you see what's going on? The 3 planets will be getting higher and higher as we go on in the month of March. As we enter March and we go through, the moon will come by and join them, but the 3 planets will be much higher in the sky by mid-March. So that means better viewing is coming for these 3 planets. So do stay tuned to that. That'll be something really cool to see as well. And then, of course, finally, moving to the weekend, Saturday. Let me just move, first off, make it dark, and then move it over to Saturday. Let's see, Saturday the 27th. The full moon, also known as the cold moon, will be rising in the east, like I said, soon after sunset. It's going to be a beautiful sight. Now, for those of us that are in the middle of winter, like here in Montreal, I've got an amazingly bright snow covering, lots of white snow covering around me. I'm actually in the middle of a snowfall now. We've got well over 30 centimeters of snow on the ground. Everything is covered with white snow. And so if we have clear skies on the weekend and you are in a snow-covered area, you should have an absolutely magical view of the full moon rising in front of a snow-covered area. So if you can find a spot where you can see the moon rise and it's really maybe a nice ice-covered lake or river, or you have a plain in front of you, a meadow, it could actually be absolutely fantastic with that silvery bluish glow that the moonlight can take. And as it rises, it could be a magical photo opportunity too. So I highly recommend it. These objects that and events that we're talking about today are fairly easy to see. Some of them you need binoculars, but that's okay. You're learning. We're all on a journey, right, to learning about the night sky, and that's what it's all about. So I want to thank you so much for joining me again this week. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Remember, if you're on Facebook or on Twitch or on YouTube watching, if you like my videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any information about the night sky. There's lots of things happening every week, and I'll post sky charts and, of course, space news on a regular basis on my channel. So do stay tuned. And I want to thank you again. I hope you stay safe and healthy. And of course, until next time, I wish all of you guys clear skies. Bye-bye.